Hey leaders, I hope everyone is well. A lot to share with you, so I'm going to hit the highlights as quick as I can, but feel free to reach out with any questions. Number one, Sunday's lesson. We're going to be in Romans chapter 1. Last week we talked about the conversion of Saul into Paul, and now we're looking at something he wrote many years later, the beginning of the book of Romans, which of course is his big treatise and theological dive into what exactly is the gospel. But Romans chapter 1 hits some really important components of the gospel. One, it talks about the power of the gospel. Romans 1:16, he's not ashamed of the gospel because it is the dynamos, the power of God, so that people can be saved. And so it's a good chance just to remind students, it's not just joining a religion, it's not just coming to a church, it's a message from God that has power to save and transform lives if we'll just share the message of what Jesus has done. But it also gets into the verses after that, where it talks about God has revealed himself through nature. In chapter 2, he talks about revealed himself through human conscience, and basically what theologians call general revelation, and the lesson has some content on this. This idea that God has generally revealed himself to all of humanity, so that everyone was without excuse. No one can say, I had no idea, to some degree, that there was some higher being up there. And so but it also says we suppress the truth and unrighteousness. We know he's there, but we decide to deny him anyway. So we worship the creation rather than the creator. So this is a really philosophical, deep philosophical look into the way, what we see in the world. Why is God there, but people don't believe in him? And why are people so rebellious against God? Which really reveals the depth of our sinful nature. And it really gets into that. It also hits another important theological topic, the wrath of God. And this is something that we don't probably talk about enough with our students, because we want to know that the wrath of God is not his primary attribute. He's not out to get you in that sense. He loves you. He's made a way for you to be saved. He sent his son to die and rise again because he so loved the world that he wants you to know him and be in relationship with him forever. But he is angry at sin, and he is going to judge sin. It says that he poured out his wrath on Jesus in our place on the cross. That's why the cross. It wasn't because Satan had to punish Jesus for our sin. It's because God had to pour out his wrath on Jesus instead of us. And so it's important to remember that really salvation is God saving us from himself, from the wrath that he's going to pour out on sin that it justly deserves. And so people who are not in Christ and saved from his wrath because Jesus took it will suffer the wrath of God for their sin if they don't put their faith and trust in Jesus for that covering over them. And so there's some great content here. I encourage you to dive into whichever part your students seem to be latching onto, but there's really good stuff. Two big things I'll be sharing with our students this week, and I won't give into a bunch of details here, but we can talk a whole bunch more. Number one, July 7th is a big date. Here's two things happening on July 7th. One, that is going to be Promotion Sunday, where we move everybody up into their new groups and age groups. But the other big thing that is happening is we are going to be moving space. Elementary ministry is growing, preschool is growing, student ministry is growing. We have to move somewhere for everyone to have at least some more space to work with. And so on July 7th, student ministry is going to be, it'll be our first Sunday. We're going to move to the office building. Over the month of July, we're going to be getting new carpet in the office building. We'll be doing some things to kind of make it feel like the student space. But July 7th, we will do promotion and move into our new space in the office building. Why I'm excited about that for us is that means every group is going to have their own classroom. So when you split up for group time, you will have a quiet space for your group to have their time. I think it's going to be awesome, helping us with distraction and noise and everyone having that time to be in their group. Why I'm excited for our whole church is because elementary is going to move into the current student space. And so it'll be first through fifth grade in there, and they're going to have more space to spread out. That's why we added the door, so that they're actually going to have access to the outdoor area as well. And so there's a lot of exciting stuff going on with that. And then preschool is going to be growing into the whole current Kidville area, which will allow them to use the theater, to have playground, and some other things like that. So it's a really exciting time for Liberty at York River. Please don't share that with your students until Sunday morning, because Pastor John's going to be announcing that to the church at large at the same time that I'm sharing it with our students. So just keep that under your hat until Sunday morning. The second thing I'm going to share with our students is I'm going to be going on sabbatical in August. I'll be reaching my 7th year here at Liberty in the month of July, and Liberty generously allow every 7 years they want their pastoral staff to take a month off. And so the only time we can do that while our kids are out of school is in the month of August, while there's nothing major going on for student ministry. And so once we get back from the mission trip, I will head out to sabbatical for a month. I've already spoken to several of you, several of our adult leaders. You guys are going to be filling my role on Sunday morning, where you just kind of open it up, do the announcements. I'll probably film some sort of video message for each Sunday, but it'll be very Sunday as normal. Breakfast, game, announcements, open the lesson, go to group time. Of course, in our new space. But that's what Sunday mornings will look like in August. There's nothing else going on student ministry-wise, so I won't be missing any big events or any Wednesday nights. And then when I get back from sabbatical, we will jump right back into fall schedule on September 4th with our first Wednesday night back. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I also wanted to make sure I share that with the students. So when it comes, it's not a sudden departure, and I also want them to understand that it is a time of rest that we need and we're looking forward to and very thankful for. But I also want them to know that I'm not leaving, that I'm not out, that we didn't leave or move away. We're just taking the time off that the church is giving us, and so we're excited about that. But leaders, thank you for our team. So excited about the summer that's coming up, the 3 huge events that are ahead of us in the next few weeks. So just be in prayer for those. But looking forward to Sunday, and we will see you then.